worlds, vivid prints, anything to combat the black boredom of space. Another man might have snorted and shaken his head, but Kusanagi Jones didn't quite permit himself a smile of self-knowledge. He was trying to distract himself, because the liquor wasn't helping anymore. And in addition to his other qualities, Vincent was also almost pathologically punctual. He should be along any tick, and in fact, a shadow now moved across Kusanagi Jones' fisheye sensor, accompanied by the rasp of shoes on carpet. Michelangelo. Kusanagi Jones finished his drink, set the glass in the dispensal, and turned. No, Vincent hadn't changed. Slightly softer, belly and chin not as tight as in their youth, gray dulling hair he was too proud to have melanized, but in the vigorous middle age of his 60s, Vincent was still... Mr. Catherinson. Kusanagi Jones made his decision and extended his hand, ignoring Vincent's considering frown. Not a gesture one made to a business associate. Through the resistance of their wardrobes, fingers brushed, hands clasped. Vincent hadn't changed his program either. They could still touch. Kusanagi Jones had thought he was ready. But if he hadn't known, he would have thought he'd been jabbed, nano-infected. He'd have snatched his hand back and checked his readout, hoping his docs could improvise a counteragent. But it was just chemistry. The reason they'd been separated. The reason they were here, together again, on a starship making port in orbit around a renegade world. Old times, Kusanagi Jones thought. Vincent arched an eyebrow in silent agreement, as if they'd never parted. Kill or be killed, Vincent said. Next best thing to a mantra. Kusanagi Jones squeezed his fingers and let their hands fall apart, but it didn't sever the connection. It was too practiced, too reflexive. Vincent's gift, the empathy, the sympathy that turned them from men into a team. Vincent's particular gift, complement of Kusanagi Jones's. Vincent stared at him, tawny eyes bright. Kusanagi Jones shrugged and turned his back, running his fingers across the rainbow lights of his subdermal watch to order another martini, codes flickering across neuromorphed retinas. He stared out the bubble again, waiting while the drink was mixed, and retrieved it from the dispensal less than a meter away. Oh, good. Vincent's earth patois. His compat was accentless. Nothing makes a first impression like turning up shit-faced. They think we're animals anyway. Kusanagi Jones gestured to a crescent world resolving as Kaiwo Maru entered the plane of the ecliptic and began changing to give her passengers the best view. Not like we had a chance to make them like us. Look, cruise modulating the ship. Seen one reconfig, seen them all. Nevertheless, Vincent came up to him and they waited, silent, while Kaiwo Maru reworked from a compact shape, optimized for travel, to something spidery and elegant, designed to dock with the station and transfer cargo, alive and material, as efficiently as possible. Behold, Vincent teased, new Amazonia. Kusanagi Jones took a sip of his martini, rolling the welcome rawness over his tongue. Stupid name for a planet. He didn't mind when Vincent didn't answer. Bravado aside, Michelangelo did stop drinking with the one in his hand, and Vincent pretended not to notice that he checked his watch and adjusted his blood chemistry. Meanwhile, Kaiwo Maru docked without a shiver. Vincent didn't even have to put his hand out to steady himself. He pretended also that he was looking at the towering curve of the station beyond the bubble, but really, he was watching Michelangelo's reflection. There had been times in the last decade and a half when Vincent had been convinced he'd never exactly remember that face. And there had been times when he'd been just as convinced he'd never get it out of his head. That he could feel Michelangelo standing beside him, glowering as he was glowering now. One wouldn't discern it casually. Angelo wouldn't permit that much emotion revealed. His